All right. First off, huge fan of yours,
Thank you.
and you're welcome. I just want to say, could you see yourself being a manager one day? And if so, who would you want to manage from the NXT?
Oh, I don't know. I guess the closest person to me would be Finn Balor.
Yeah, so I was
yeah,
thinking
right.
about himself.
But I don't know if I could see myself as a manager because I've always been on the other side of things. So I don't know. But Paul Bearer was pretty good, so maybe I'll follow in his footsteps.
He was one of my favorites. Rest in
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Kane, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Welcome to South Beach.
Thanks. It's very nice here.
It's
a
hotter.
little
than
warm.
Hell. It's hotter than hell. Huh?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Minus the Katie Vick and go with Triple H. What would Kane of today go back and tell young Kane? Any advice, or just a word of advice? If you can go back in time, what would you tell yourself or anybody else in that era, Attitude Era?
That's a good question. I think what I would tell anyone, and this goes for today, is to enjoy your time, because I've been in WWE now for 20 years, and at this point, it all seems like a blur. Things happen so quickly and things change so fast, and we're everywhere all the time that sometimes we don't really have a chance to relax and savor things. We're always on the go, always working, and that's what I would say, is to actually take a moment and reflect and relax, because it is a lot of fun, and not very many people do get to do what we do. One of my favorite things now is people just come up to me and want to shake my hand and thank me for what I do, and I'm like, well. And I'm always like, I can't do what I do without you. So I think sometimes we take all that for granted, because we are on the move all the time and we are going so much. It really does become a blur. So, yeah, I think the thing I'd say would just be try to relax and savor it and enjoy the moment.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
You.
Hi, Kane. It's an honor to meet you. Two-part question. First one is, what's your favorite incarnation of the character? And the second one is, how do you feel about the subject of Vince being out of touch? I sometimes feel that he's clearly insane.
You can tell him that. My favorite incarnation is still the original, because I just, that character was so unique and, of course, brand new, and really just different. I don't think there'd been anything quite like that before. People say that my debut was one of the best ever, and I believe that.
Arguably.
Yeah, because it was awesome. Didn't have anything to do with me, mind you. That was all, our production, WWE's production. As far as Vince being out of touch, Vince is one of those guys that people are always saying something negative about him because, of course, people all have their opinions. In the end, though, he always wins. He does. And like if you look right now at the WWE Network, when it was first launched, it was it's crazy, it's insane, that's never going to work. It's starting to work pretty well. So the guy, especially on the business side of things, the guy really understands. I think the thing that really sets Vince apart is that he understands entertainment technology advancements and how to position himself more than anyone else does. And admittedly, Vince is not exactly a technophile, but he understands that the entertainment industry is constantly changing. And by the way, that's where Vince sees WWE. We're not a wrestling company. We're an entertainment company. There's a story that when Ted Turner bought WCW, he calls Vince and he says, hey, I'm in the wrestling business. And Vince is like, that's great, Ted, but I'm in the entertainment business. And because of that, he always positions us differently than back then other wrestling companies. But now, people are still, think that we only compete in that arena. We don't. We're competing with the entertainment within the entertainment industry in general. And Vince has always been able to see, okay, there's this new technology, and I need to take advantage of it. We were streaming video on the internet in 1995. We had one of the biggest websites in the world, still do. The network is a phenomenal advancement because it's the first platform that features both real-time and on-demand content. And then, of course, another thing that Vince has done, which is genius, is he wants WWE to be a repository of sports entertainment. He wants us to be the museum. So you can go on the network now and see all these things on. And people think, why would you want to buy this company? Why do you want to do this? Well, the reason he did that is because he wanted their libraries, so then he could later use those in whatever capacity. So I think sometimes that people who say that Vince is out of touch don't realize that he really is looking strategically long term, and he's been very, very good at that. So all of us sometimes, short term things don't work out like we want them to. But I think the genius of Vince McMahon is when he looks over the long term, he understands how to position our company, and no one else has ever been able to do that. So thanks, good question, thank you. Hey, buddy. Thank you.
So his question is, if you couldn't hear it, which match have you had that you felt changed the course of the company? And what was your second question?
It was if will I come back as the Devil's favorite demon, or will I retire at the Authority? Right. I don't know. The Authority has a pretty good retirement plan, so I may have to think about that. Now, I'm sure at some point we will see the return of the mask. So I don't know when, but I'm sure that we will. And as for your first question, I think that match actually was the pay-per-view as King of the Ring in Pittsburgh when I beat Stone Cold Steve Austin for the world title, and then also when Mick Foley was thrown off the cage and then thrown through the cage in the Hell in a Cell match. And the reason I say that is actually the next night, people are always like, a champion for a day. But if they'd been in Cleveland the next night when there's a rematch between Austin and I for the title again, the building was just electric. It was incredible. And I might be wrong about this, but I think that was one of those moments that helped, propel Austin winning the title back, helped propel the whole Attitude Era, taking off the launch pad. Up until that point, that was the highest rated Raw ever, and we just kept on building after that. So I don't know if it necessarily was, one of those deals where it fundamentally altered things, but I think it really helped push things along, in the way that they eventually went. Cool. Thank you.
Hi, Kane.
Hey, I need to know your hairdresser, first of all.
Oh, I was a little late, so I don't know if this got asked already, but how did you like tag teaming with Rob Van Dam? And if you know any funny personal stories?
Any personal stories about Rob or just in general?
Rob.
I don't really have any funny personal stories about Rob that I can think of offhand. Rob was great. He's a great talent. I think we had really good chemistry. I think that's one of those things where the contrast between our styles in the end really made the team. And Rob's a friend of mine, so it was a lot of fun tagging with him.
All right, thank you.
Cool, thank you.
I'm a big fan of WWE, so which title have you never held in WWE?
I haven't held the U.S. title.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty much it. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's pretty much the
Do you
only
plan
one.
to challenge John Cena for the U.S. title?
Yeah, well, I have, and that didn't turn out for me, but yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Okay, next. Thank you. Good question.
When did you realize that you wanted to be a wrestler in WWE?
When did I realize I wanted to be a wrestler in WWE? I had always been a fan. I grew up in rural Missouri, a couple hours north of St. Louis, and we didn't have cable TV. So if the wind was blowing the right direction on a Saturday night, we got All-Star Wrestling out of Kansas City. And I got to see guys like Bulldog Bob Brown, Ray Candy, Bruiser Bob Sweetan, a lot of people that most of you guys probably don't know. And then also every once in a while Harley Race was there. As Harley's hometown. But once a month we would go to St. Louis to visit my grandmother, and I would watch wrestling at the Chase. And at that time, wrestling at the Chase was the biggest wrestling program in the country. St. Louis was sort of the capital of wrestling. So I always thought, I was always a fan. I got away somewhat in high school because I got busy with, other sports and things like that. But in college, I started watching again. And I was playing football in college and, trying to maybe play in the NFL, but I'd hurt my knee very badly. And it looked like that was going to be the end. And I was like, well, maybe, I'm big, I'm pretty athletic from playing sports, and maybe I'd be good at the wrestling thing. And I'd been to a show at the Checker Dome in St. Louis that Hulk Hogan headlined, and I'll never forget. Hogan's music started. The "I am a real," and just the whole roof blew off the place. And I was like, yeah, that would be a lot of fun. So that's really when I decided to go for it full time. Like I said, I'd always been a fan, but when I really started to go, I started wanting to do it was probably when I saw Hulk Hogan the first time in person, which was a little later in life. There's some guys that are have wanted to do it ever since they were little kids. And like I said, I was always a fan, but never necessarily saw myself doing that. But you can go to WWE for the first time live, and it changes your opinion about some things. So, thank you. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Check.
Hi.
Hey.
I have a couple of questions. I don't think we're limited to one or two. One, okay. When you're not traveling and so busy, what do you do for relaxing?
I don't know what relaxation is anymore, unfortunately. No, I have other stuff that I do, so I stay pretty busy, yeah, seriously, I read, but a lot of that's actually not for relaxation. It's for gaining knowledge about things, I guess. So yeah, I don't do a whole lot. But like we'll be flying to Singapore next week, and I'll be on a plane for 20 hours. So I'll probably sleep quite a bit. So maybe that's the upside of the downside is I get to relax when I get stuck, traveling for days on end, seemingly. Thank you.
Hello, you are my favorite superstar. I've been, you actually scarred me when I was little, when you first debuted, and your feud with Undertaker was like the best. I still, watch it back on the WWE Network every once in a while, so it's, great.
Thank you. It's money well spent, the WWE Network.
How much is it again?
It's $9.99.
There
right?
you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why it's
awesome.
It's kind of sad seeing you went from Devil's Favorite Demon to be sponsored by JCPenney.
It's not JCPenney. Those are very expensive suits. Thank you very much. Actually, I do. I take exception. People are like, you're out there in a cheap suit. I'm like, it's not a cheap suit. Trust me, I pay for it.
But I want to know, what was the biggest influence or thing that Dusty Rhodes helped you with, throughout your career?
Actually, it wasn't necessarily Dusty. Dustin is probably my best friend in the business, and he's my traveling partner. So. Not only did Dusty leave a legacy for the rest of it, but Dustin and I are pretty close. So that would be the thing that I'd have to say.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
want to go back to Bad Blood '97 when you screwed the Undertaker in the first Hell in a Cell match.
Wait, I can pull a I can pull a Vinceism here. I didn't screw the Undertaker. The Undertaker screwed the Undertaker. Okay, I got you. When I interfered with the match, in the match.
Yeah, like how many weeks before that, for the pay-per-view, when you were told the details of how your debut was going to go down, and what was your reaction when they told you, and what was your description of the crowd reaction when you perpetrated the screwdriver and Taker in the building, and then in the building on Raw next night?
Yeah.
And the internet fan reaction and fallout.
Okay. I don't know if I can cover all that, but gotcha. So the storyline with Undertaker and Kane, in all genuineness, I believe was really one of the best bits of storytelling I've ever done in WWE. And the reason for that is because it was perfect. You know, you had Paul Bearer and he's talking about Kane, who is Kane, all this stuff. That gets a little bit fleshed out beforehand, and then it gets forgotten about because everybody starts to concentrate on the Undertaker-Shawn Michaels match, and everybody had forgotten about Kane, and you know, there he is, and that's when you get the famous, you know, Vince's, that's got to be Kane, that's got to be Kane, and I think it was one of those deals. For a moment, everything stopped because the fans didn't know what was going on, and then it was one of those deals like, oh, that's him. And then, you know, it was really startled disbelief that Kane tombstones the Undertaker, and you know, after that match, Shawn Michaels wins the match, and you know, all that, and it was really, you know, it was historic because that was the first match between Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker, and of course, it was a great match, first Hell in a Cell, and all that sort of stuff. So. Initially, I was really excited, of course, but then I got really nervous because I'm going out there with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. It's not like I'm, you know, going out with whoever, you know, in the main event on a pay-per-view with this new match that they just designed. And if I screwed it up, I was in a lot of trouble. So, you know, there was a bit of pressure there. And you know, thankfully, everything turned out very well. And then, of course, the next night on Raw. By the way, and who are the two guys that I beat up the next night on Raw? It was Matt and Jeff Hardy. Yeah, and I'd known them from Smoking Rat and Wrestling back in the day. You know, and then of course they went on to do really great things as well. But the next night on Raw, like I said, I just think that everything was put together so well that it was a can't miss deal, and I just had to do my part, which really wasn't that much because you had Paul Bearer out there talking for me, and you had the Undertaker doing his part, and then of course everything else. So it was yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
How many champions have you won?
How many championships have I won? I can't remember. I've won the WWE Championship, World Heavyweight Championship. I've won the World Heavyweight Championship back when they were two different things. I've won the ECW Championship. I've won the Intercontinental Championship, and I've won a bunch of tag team championships. And I won the Hardcore Championship. Never won the European Championship. That's another one. Or the U.S. Championship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
And
having a good match with that mic, buddy.
Please don't choke slam me, but
okay.
WrestleMania, when you were facing Undertaker, I was cheering for Undertaker. Oh, okay. And what's your greatest moment with Undertaker?
What's my greatest moment with Undertaker? When we won the tag team championships. Yeah. And what was the question about WrestleMania?
Oh, no, I didn't ask a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. Okay, but my greatest moment was winning the tag team championships.
Have a good day.
Cool. Thank you. Have a good day, too.
How you doing, Kane?
Good, man.
Oh, good. Again, like a couple other people, you terrified me as a kid. Like your WrestleMania entrance in Boston. I'm originally from Boston. I remember hiding behind my mom and crying because your entrance. But my question is, with all of the new talent coming into WWE and NXT, as well as like coming from like a lot of the independent promotions, was there ever a moment where you and the guys in the locker room were looking at like any of these other indie promotions, going, "Wow, I'd really like to work with this guy," or "Wow, this guy should totally come to the WWE"?
Oh yeah, that happens all the time, of course. Now there was a point where we were really worried about the roster, who was going to step up, and I think that's been taken care of at this point with guys like Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt, among others. But yeah, it's always been like, oh yeah, I'd really like to work with that guy, or watching different promotions, who's coming in and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, and tell your mom I'm sorry I did that to you.
Hello.
Hey.
You've been one of my favorites along with Undertaker for a while, so
Thank you.
for being awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're
it's nice
welcome.
calling that all day.
Happy to help. My question is, who's been the most influential in your career?
Oh, definitely Undertaker. Yeah, no doubt.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
How you doing? So in 1999, a buddy of mine snuck backstage at National Car Rental Center, and we actually pretended to be like children of some of the workers back there, and we saw you walk in one time, and you walked in with a towel over your face. This is back when you had the mask. Did you have a contractual thing where you weren't allowed to show your face backstage, or how did that work?
No, I was just, a lot of what we do is like magic, and to put it in a bigger context, people ask me about the internet, and I think the internet's awesome, but also, it takes away from that, because there's spoilers and there's this and there's that, and it really, I think it really hurts the fan experience in that way. Just my opinion. Some people don't feel that way, but that's my opinion. So we're like magic, and if David Copperfield or my friend Penn Jillette is doing a trick and people are constantly sitting there, they're the wires, this is how they do it, it really spoils the illusion for everyone. And that's the reason for the mask was, that was before, the internet was really big and people could just go Googling and find a picture of you. And of course the story was that I've been burnt in a fire. So I was just trying to, as much as I could, not reveal myself to people hanging outside and go, oh, there's Kane. He's wow, he's a really good looking guy. They never said that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it was really just to protect the character as much as I could.
It was great. We thought it was part of the, it was part of the gig.
Yeah,
so.
it was funny though too. Is sometimes like I was the only person I was fooling. Everybody else was like, "Hey, Glenn, what's up? How you doing?" So yeah.
Well,
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
We have 10 minutes left.
How you doing, Kane?
Good. How are you?
Been a huge fan since day one, first of all.
Thank you.
Two things, if you don't mind. It kind of goes along with my question. I'm an actor, and I've been actually fortunate in my career to perform and take the choke slam on 3 different films that I've done. So, and they're all, I like doing them better, but receiving them is fun too. But through WWE Studios, you've been able to do not 1, but 2 See No Evil movies. What was that like for you personally, going from wrestling to a feature film?
Yeah, as you know, acting is pretty difficult, and I don't think that folks realize that the skills required in acting. Because in WWE, we're out there in front of a live audience, and you have all that adrenaline, and you have that interaction. You don't have any of that on a soundstage. I mean, it's the most antiseptic environment in the world. Then you have to go out and do whatever you're going to do, and portray whatever emotions you're going to portray. And that was the thing for me. And also, we're used to doing things one take, and it's really hard for me to do stuff over and over again because, like, look, it's good. We got it, right? It's great. Yeah. And of course, that's not the way that movies work. And I'm also not a very good rehearser because I'm used to doing things one take, so I turn it on for the one take, but I'm really subdued for the rehearsals. And I've been told that by the directors is like, you have to try during rehearsals. And I'm like, what is the point? And they have a job to do too. They actually have to see it. So that's the biggest the biggest difference is just the performances. It translates, but not as much as people might think.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you.
If it's okay.
What's up?
Oh, I just have a question. What was your most physically demanding match and why?
Two of them. One would have been the Royal Rumble, where I was in it for like an hour, because it's just you're out there for an hour, which is difficult because we don't normally do that every night. And then the second one was the Inferno match with Undertaker, because it was really hot in there, and that was demanding in a different way. The match wasn't as long, of course, but just the heat and everything took a lot out of you. And the fact that there were open flames right next to you, which psychologically affected me somewhat as well. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Out of all the major storylines or angles that you have been part of, which one is your favorite and why?
It was probably the one was Undertaker right off the bat, because I don't know if you've been here before, but I just think it was the best piece of storytelling that WWE's ever done. It was just executed marvelously, and that was my favorite one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Kane. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. My question for you is about a storyline. What was your favorite moment between the angle you and Shane McMahon? Yeah. Your most favorite.
Yeah, my most favorite.
I think some fans know.
No, it wasn't that one. It was when he jumped off the top of the Titantron and then ended up in the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Wait, that actually happened?
Yeah, it happened in pay-per-view.
I mean, did he legitimately?
Yeah, he jumped off the top of the
No, I
Titantron.
know he
It was
jumped,
17
but-
feet. No, he went to the hospital. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I thought that was I thought it was fine, but wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, well, and of course, being Vince's kid, he's a multimillionaire, so it's cool to watch the business in the hospital. It's like, ha ha ha. So anyway,
Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
man.
Kane.
Hey, what's up, Kane?
What's up?
How do you feel about the Undertaker's streak being ended? And do you think Brock Lesnar was the one to end the streak?
Be honest. Yeah, frankly, I didn't want to see that happen, because I thought that the streak really gave people. It was a brand in itself, and it really added something to WrestleMania. And it's something that you can't get back. So for sentimental reasons, on my part, I think that I agree with folks. It's like I really wish that Undertaker had retired for whatever it's going to be, but 25-0 or whatever at WrestleMania. Cool. Thank you.
And was Brock Lesnar deserving of that moment?
I think now what we've seen is that I think the question a lot of people had was, did that really do anything for Brock, and would it have done for some more for someone else? But I think that what's happening at this point is that it did really launch Brock. Because frankly, he'd been sort of struggling. He up until that point, he'd lost like almost every match he'd been in since he'd come back. He, as powerful as Brock's character is now, I think what happened was the office saw it floundering at that point. And, so on the flip side, now you have Brock, and whenever he comes out there, people are like, oh my gosh, this guy is the real deal. And, he's literally going to rip someone's head off. So, which I found out last Monday night, firsthand experience. But in any case, I think that it really did help propel Brock. So, looking back on it initially, I would have to say no, but I think that the way it's played out in the end, it did help Brock a lot. So,
All right,
thank you.
man.
All right, Kane, this is going to have to be the final question. Make it good.
All right,
Make
yeah,
it
make it
count.
good. There's a lot of pressure on
Here
you,
we
brother.
go.
All right, let's give him a hand.
Pressure.
Here we go.
Thank you. That is a lot of pressure. You mind if I ask two quick questions?
Okay, if they're two quick ones.
The first one would be we've seen Kane evolve in many ways throughout the years, and there's one
aspect in particular that I was wondering what your opinion were on it, which was when you used to communicate kind of like through a voice box
Right.
with the through the throat. How did you feel about
That was really hard. So I'm glad we got rid of that because it was sort of cool and it was creepy, and you know, but it was really hard to pull off. So yeah, I'm sort of glad we don't do that anymore.
And the quick last one was
Sure.
what relationship did you have with Mark Calloway before joining the industry?
Yeah, well, before I went to WWE, we knew each other somewhat, and I don't know if we necessarily had a relationship, but I think that he liked me, you know, and of course, you know, he saw in me a future opponent, and again, he's the guy that's helped me out the most. That betted on me probably when a lot of people wouldn't have, so I really do owe a lot to him.
Appreciate it.
Cool.
Thank
you.
Okay, we do have one more final question.
Hey, your question is pretty good, man, but this is the encore. Hey, buddy.
Do you like Daniel Bryan as your tag team partner?
Okay. See, you don't know Daniel Bryan personally. He is a very annoying human being. He does all the yes thing.
He was
you know,
here
just
yesterday.
continually. I know he was here yesterday.
Yes.
So you got
And only great things to say about you.
But yes, he's actually one of my favorite tag team partners. So if once you get past the annoyance, he's a really good guy.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very good question. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks,
we can
everybody.
end on that note. Once again, WWE Superstar Kane!